If you're new to this channel, my name is Elle, and for my entire life, I have struggled with low self-esteem, seeking the approval of others, which led to many, many, many bad decisions, life decisions, and financial decisions. In fact, most of my poor financial decisions was rooted out of low self-esteem, which led me to drain my 401k and drain my savings. And this is where I'm at now. I am on a mission to improve my self-esteem, to improve my self-worth, which sounds very mystical and like, how do you actually do that? But there are tactical ways to do this. And also to rebuild my finances. So in this video, we're gonna go over 16 small habits that are negatively impacting your self-esteem and small actions you can take to counteract that. And when I say you, this is actually, like I've said in other videos, this is notes to self. These are things that I am working on, that I have noticed, or things that I need to work on in the future. If you can take a few of these tips, awesome, but this is basically lessons to myself that I'm also sharing with you. Number one, being the smartest person in the room can actually have a negative impact on your self-esteem because it's a false sense of security. If you are the most attractive person in the room, or you believe to be the smartest person in the room, or if you're like the standout person in your group of friends, then you are in the wrong group because you need to compare yourself to people and be with people, surround yourself with people who push you to grow, who challenge you to move out of your comfort zone. And this was me for a very long time. I'm actually very embarrassed to say this, but I always sought out groups where I felt comfortable, where I didn't feel like somebody had a one-up on me in any aspect. And that sounds so freaking bad, but if I was put in a situation where someone was like much more attractive than me or way smarter, I felt so inadequate that it made me want to shrivel down. So to not put myself in that situation, I sought out groups where I didn't feel a sense of inadequacy, and that inevitably led me to stay stagnant in life. And confidence happens when growth happens. If you are growing as a person, if you are learning as a person, if you are expanding what you already know, confidence will inevitably grow. And so low self-esteem can be a result. If you're not learning from the people you're surrounding yourself with and they're not pushing you, then you might be in the wrong room or the wrong group. And so to counteract this, I'm not saying like, leave your friends or leave your job or whatever it is, but join a mastermind, join a networking group, and if you can't do that, then seek out people on the internet who are smarter than you, move faster than you in whatever area that you want to excel at. And I've actually really started to take stock of this lately, and I don't even know if I should actually say this on the internet, but I'm going to. In my job, like, I don't feel like I'm challenged enough in my job. Like, I'm starting to realize it is just like the same thing over and over again. And I love the people I work with. I adore them so much, but I crave to be in an environment when people are just like learning and growing and testing and trying and like, I want to have these like big projects and challenges that I have to like fight my way through. I don't have that where I am right now. And that's something that's been weighing heavily on me recently. Number two is choosing the wrong inputs. I've said this in many other videos, but it is so true. It is worth repeating 10 times over again. Your brain reflects what you consume, and consuming shallow content results in shallow thinking. And it's not to say that, you can't do doom scrolling and watch like stupid, funny cat videos, because we all need that to check out. But do an audit of where you're putting some of your time. And if you're not using at least an hour a day of learning or growth in a skill or philosophy or, improvement in some way, something to help you grow and build that confidence and self-esteem, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So do an audit of what you're watching, the content you're consuming, whether it's short form or a long form or books you're reading, and try to make sure that you, A, have a goal, and that content that you are consuming, a minimum of 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day, aligns with that goal and is pushing you towards that goal. 3, seeking external validation. And if there was one theme throughout my entire life, this would be it. This is my kryptonite. This is my Achilles heel. This is the thing that I am trying to overcome, and it's really hard. Seeking external validation will have a significant negative impact on your self-esteem. If you are always seeking external validation, you will always be chasing approval. It will never end, and you will chase approval in all facets of your life. If you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? And at this stage of my life, I'm still having a difficult time trusting myself and approving myself and loving myself. And it just sounds a little woo-woo when I say it, but it is so true. External validation can diminish your self-worth in the worst way. So one thing that you can do each day is to journal about, one thing you're grateful for or one thing that you achieved. Or you can do what I'm doing, and I'm actually I am on a mission to eradicate low self-esteem from my life. And so what I'm doing, I'm journaling every single time I have a negative self-talk. I'm literally writing it down. I am reframing it with something positive. I'm catching it each time so that I can loosen the hardwired negative critical self-talk in my brain. Next one is accepting subpar feedback. Taking unsolicited advice from somebody who's not qualified. This happened a lot to me when I sold real estate. I was all over the place, and it was so new to me that I took advice from everyone. When I sold real estate, a lot of it required, I was in this big group that did a lot of cold calling people, and it was pretty effective, but I took a lot of feedback and advice from people who were not where I wanted to be. They were like where I was. So I'm like, why am I listening to you? And so you have to be careful whose voices you let into your head. Now I'm very careful of who I accept advice and feedback from. And if it's somebody that I want to hear from, I will initiate the conversation and I will actually ask for it. One of the people, actually, I'm really lucky, is my boyfriend. He is extremely level-headed. He is very smart. He is never quick to pass judgment. He's extremely thoughtful. And my sister is the exact same way. So I will often seek advice or feedback from them. The next one is avoiding the pain of growth. What I've learned is that growth is not supposed to feel good. Growth usually doesn't feel good for a very long time. I have grown a lot in the last 6 to 7 months on this channel, actually, in just exploring my shopping habits, my excessive shopping habits, and budgeting, and having to step back from reliance on beauty products and material goods. And it's been a very hard process, and I've had a lot of times when I've struggled immensely. In the end, it does make you better. Like, it's so cliche, but it is so true that growth is pain and pain makes you better. So work on growth, enjoy the pain, bask in it. And my advice is that if you are in this vicious financial cycle where you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you're constantly overdrafting on your account and you haven't yet budgeted, or you're too scared to look at your bank account, just work through it. Like, start budgeting, start cutting back on things, and it will suck for a while, but I promise you will have a better outlook on yourself. You will definitely improve your confidence after getting the hang of it. It will take months probably to get the hang of it, but once you do, the good far outweighs the bad. So what is it? Choose discomfort over regret. The next one is ignoring evidence of change. And this can be really easy to do, where you ignore the progress that you're making. And honestly, I think that I would not have any idea how far I've come if I wasn't documenting all of this on YouTube. And I think that's why a lot of people have a hard time maintaining a state of happiness or gratitude, because whenever you progress towards something or you achieve something, you have like a very fleeting sense of joy, happiness, or gratitude. That becomes your status quo. That becomes your standard. It's just like, for example, when I first got the job that I'm in now, I had a very low salary comparatively to what I was making before I became a real estate agent in my past marketing job. So I started off with $65,000, and then I was like, I had a goal. I was like, I want to be at $85,000. And I pushed towards that goal, and within like 5 months, I got myself to $85,000. They gave me a raise. And I was happy about it for like 2 weeks, and then that became standard, and I was like, yeah, I don't know how I was making $65,000. And now I feel like $85,000 is, it doesn't feel like a lot to me. And my goal now is like, I need to be at 100 minimum for sure. And what I failed to realize in the moment, and I do it now, is that I started off, so I was in marketing, and I was making about, I think, $120,000 a year. And then I went into selling real estate for like 2 years, which was a shiz show. And then when I went back into marketing, I took a huge pay cut, which was $65,000. But within 5 months, I got myself to $85,000, and then with my side hustles, I had essentially doubled my salary in like a 5-month span. And I didn't take the time to celebrate those wins and that progress at all. And I never gave myself props or, gratitude for it. I just kept like moving forward. So if you can, try to reflect on where you've grown and where you've progressed and where you think you'll be in 6 months from now, a year from now, and then check in with yourself to see if you've actually achieved what you thought you would, and celebrate that success. Another thing that will negatively impact self-esteem is avoiding challenges. And I kind of touched on this earlier, but challenge is where growth comes, and growth breeds confidence. Confidence is the trust in your skills, in your knowledge, and when you are challenged, that is when you actually see what you are made of and what you can achieve. And often, a lot of the things that, this is what I think now. Every single time I am tasked with doing something, or anytime I'm asked to do something and I don't know what to do, my past self would have been like, crap, I don't know what to do. I'd be so stressed out that I would feel it like physically. And then I like crawl into a hole for a little while until I figured it out. Now, every single time I'm asked to do something, instead of like getting angry at the other person or getting angry at myself, I'm like, okay, this is exciting. Like, I'm going to actually figure this out. I'm going to learn something new, and then I'll have another skill in my toolbox. I will have another thing that I now know how to do. So let's figure that out. I actually am excited for it. So stop avoiding challenges. If you want to improve your self-esteem, dive into challenges more and more. The more you can do, the better off you'll be in the long run. The next one I know all too well is over-focusing on appearance. We know this. Over-focusing on appearance can significantly impact your self-esteem, as it did mine. And I am trying to rewire my brain and rework the way I think after decades and decades of built-in emphasis on appearance and negative self-talk. And oh my God, it is hard, but it is possible. The next one I'm still struggling with is to not over-identify with past failures. to kind of see them as lessons and that you learn from and then move on from. And this is hard for me, and this is actually impacting my my self-worth and self-esteem a little bit, is the giant mess of a hole I put myself in financially. I just like look back at that person and I just feel sick at everything I spent money on and everything I wasted, and it just feels like a big failure. And I recently went through all of my, not all of them, but I went through like 2022's purchases in December, January, and February, just to kind of see. And it was just like thousands and thousands of dollars that I have, and I have nothing to account for it now. And I'm really trying not to over-identify with it, but oh my God, I just feel like a terrible human sometimes. The last one is something that I'm also struggling with, and I'm really working hard at it now, is to not keeping promises to yourself. This is a small habit that can really harm your self-esteem. And I often in the past would like have a bunch of ideas and a bunch of things, big and small, and I would like start them and leave them. And now I'm way more careful about what I'm starting, because I feel like I don't want to set myself up for failure now. So I want to be really mindful of where I'm putting my time. For example, I thought for this channel, I was like, oh, I should start a newsletter and then maybe build like a small website. I don't even know what the website would have on it, but like maybe I should do that. But I'm like, that's just another thing. And then I'll probably do it for a few months and then I won't be able to keep up because I have a lot of other stuff that I have to do. And then it will fall by the wayside. And then I will lose that trust in myself. Even down to just like getting up early. It's so hard for me to get up early in the morning. And I'm like, I just need to follow through with not hitting that snooze 8 million times and then sleeping an extra 2 hours. Confidence is built in the trust you have in yourself. And if you can't trust yourself, you know yourself more than anyone else. And if you can't trust yourself to follow through and stick with the promises you made to yourself, then you're kind of screwed, for lack of a better word. So just try to follow through with what you promised to yourself and the goals that you set, and just be careful, like me, of the goals that you're setting. Try not to go overboard, because I didn't know for a long time. It can be really damaging to your psyche, whether you know it or not, by starting and stopping different things all the time and never following through. And that was the cycle my entire life, like literally from when I was in grade school up until now, is that I started a lot of things and never finished any of them. And that's the one thing I wish that my parents would have instilled in me and made me do, is like they never made me finish anything. If I started something, if it was like cheerleading camp or soccer camp or whatever, they just let me quit. And like I just wish I was forced to follow through, because that would have built grit, and that would have built determination, and that would have built trust in myself, and that would have helped me build more confidence in myself. But now I'm trying to undo the damage done. So we will see. I think that's it. I think that was 14. I am sorry if my if I was a little lower energy this time, because I am very sick. I am coming off of a cold. Like yesterday, I was in bed, not able to move or lift my head up. And today I'm like somewhat human. So I did my best. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna leave that here, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.